Welcome into this Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford studio this morning. We will look at a couple things out of Neal's mailbag today. We'll talk Ole Miss and Tulane, including Tulane going quite throwback with some football helmets on Saturday, some stickers on the back of the helmet, a lot of stuff going on with the Wave this weekend as they head to Oxford. We will also play our weekly interview with Chance Campbell, Ole Miss linebacker that's had quite the first two games in an Ole Miss uniform. So we'll talk to Chance here in a little bit on the show. That's also in our YouTube feed if you would like to just go watch that at some point there as well. Tell your friends, send it out in email chains, social media, all the ways that we connect with one another other than actually having to speak to one another or see each other face-to-face in today's society. So do that with
it's overrated.
Campbell. You think it's overrated? You're perfectly fine with your time period versus like the 1920s where you had no choice but to see somebody face-to-face?
I grow more and more comfortable with it every day.
Okay. You have no issue with the FaceTimes and the different things if you have to actually look somebody in the eye?
No. I'm good.
Okay. Go there.
I know that's
it's
deranged. I acknowledge that I'm probably developing a disorder, but if I'm being completely honest, I'm cool.
Okay. We'll continue that in a second. First, about the Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West in Oxford. Lunch specials, $5.69, two sides bread, 32-ounce drinks. Download the Speed Pass Plus app. You can do that. You can earn points and save money there with the Blue Sky locations throughout Mississippi, and they have the self-checkout going here locally in Oxford. So if there's a line with the clerk behind the counter, don't worry about it. Take care of it yourself there at the Oxford Exxon. Again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is completely up to you. You can shop it around or you can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today, 662-257-1900. Guest, join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford would be a perfect place for you to hang out this weekend. You're heading into town. Ole Miss doesn't play till 7. Games start at 11. Be a great place to grab a burger, a po' boy, their appetizers, great beer selection, full bar, the whole deal there at Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford, also in New Albany, and then Rafters on the Water at Sardis as well.
So you've got, the one hat and the one shirt for Pitching Ninja? Is that what you've procured and purchased to this point, or you got multiple things?
No, I think that's right. I have one hat and one shirt.
I bought the same hat you did in one of those flash sales, and I think that there was some trick about if you put something else in the cart or something to make sure I was in. So I ended up buying Carly Ann the same shirt you have on just to buy another item, and I don't know. But there was some sort of I had a plot behind that. Like I think that the goal was to go ahead and get a cart built. So when those hats,
so you could just add. Actually,
literally, I already had all the credit card stuff in, so then I just added the hat and hit send to make sure I was in the first 100 people.
That's actually pretty smart.
Yeah, so I just bought like a youth shirt to go with the thing.
I'm sure she appreciated it.
She's worn it like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's fine. She's really finicky about what clothes she wears, even at 5 years old, which kind of scares me a little bit.
She's a female.
She has to pick out clothes the night before.
Okay. At least it's organized.
Oh, it's completely organized. I mean, really, it's not the worst thing in the world because next morning you're grabbing it and whatever. But anyway, so
you could live with the 14-year-old boy who most every day it's, hey, does anyone know where my cleats are?
Oh, really?
I mean, generally know where the cleats are, but it's somewhat disorganized.
Yeah.
I go up to Carson's room at some point after this show and straighten it to some degree to protect him in case Laura were to go up there and have the eruption.
That makes sense. You're preempting the potential issue.
And I'm beginning to sense that he appreciates it. I mean, I think at first he didn't like me going into his room and straightening it because it was an invasion of his privacy. But I think now he understands that it's a somewhat protective thing. And
there's an allied nature to it a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a little bit of a it's okay.
There's a scheme here. So it's funny you said that because I would rather text or talk to somebody in person. I don't really know why, but I absolutely hate FaceTime. There's something about FaceTime that just feels like if you feel the need to FaceTime me, just call me. Like, I don't need to look at you. Just call me on the phone
But
and
who all
let's do it.
FaceTimes you?
Hardly anybody, but I just even.
I mean, the only person that ever FaceTimes me is
kids.
Caroline. Even Campbell just calls.
Does she?
Yeah.
Okay, I could see that.
Caroline will FaceTime.
I could see Caroline being the one of the two to do the FaceTime.
And of the
thing.
two, so Campbell will call, and it's just a real quick, what's going on? Nothing. I mean, my answer is always.
She doesn't need a 120-minute conversation.
No, my answer is, I have a really boring life. I don't do anything. What are you doing? And she'll take me through her day.
And then and
I'm like, that's cool. Who are you doing that? What are you going to do tonight? Whatever. And then it's okay. Well, I just wanted to say hi. And it's like, okay, see you later. Now, Caroline will call via FaceTime, and she'll just want to hang out with you, like walk you around the dorm. Hey, I'm going to go do my laundry. And an hour later,
oh, really?
An hour later, you're still on the phone with her. And it's just,
she's chatty.
yeah. So she's the only person I FaceTime with. And like, if Carson's not here, it's 2 words.
I mean, even like my mother FaceTimes Carly Ann. Like, I don't want to be involved. Like, here, y'all just take it somewhere. And like, if you want to talk to me, don't hand me the phone on FaceTime. Just hang up and call me. Like, I have a weird nervous tick about it. Just no, thanks. I'm good. But anyway, surprise FaceTimes. Yeah, I mean, who?
Well, you just don't answer them.
Well, yeah, you're not obligated to hit.
I mean, I have people that try to FaceTime me,
stop and then call them back,
and I just don't answer it. Just let it ring.
Yeah,
they'll figure it out.
That's an invasion if you don't know it's coming. Like,
yeah,
you're not obligated to answer the FaceTime.
Do you really need to see me?
It doesn't help productivity.
No,
just because you're face to face or anything along those.
Oh, the accidental group conversation FaceTime is kind of funny.
I never actually have gotten snuck into one where I've been on it. I just get the where they did it, but nobody actually clicks on it. Like, it just ends up in the group text, and that's it.
Well, I answered it the other day because I noticed that everybody else was on it, and I was concerned that something must have happened.
Oh, really?
And I was on the Peloton, and I'm like, what? And everybody's just talking. I'm like, is this important? It's not? Okay, see ya.
So they actually just got on and were talking, even though it was
an accident. And they ended up having like a conversation about what people were wearing and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like an Apple shield doors, but at the same time, we have some internet issue. Are we okay?
It says we're not receiving enough video.
Yeah, I know.
To maintain.
We're still okay though.
Appear to be okay.
Okay. If we have issues, people tell us.
It usually fixes itself.
Okay. That's not one we see a ton, though. So
I've never seen that one before.
That one made me a little nervous when it popped up. Yeah, I'm not like an Apple shield or anything, but I will say I do prefer everybody to have like the blue iMessage pop up. Like, there are some connectivity issues across when somebody's an Android person that I'm not judging, but I do feel like we're on different wavelengths as far as how this works necessarily. So, I mean, the ability that Apple has had to basically put a monopoly on the market to some extent is fairly amazing and scary and all sorts of things.
Didn't they come out with an Apple 13 yesterday?
Came out with an Apple 13, and apparently there is an update that is pretty substantial and important for all of our iPhones because of like some government level spyware stuff that they would like for us to avoid. So apparently, like,
avoid or get into?
Well, apparently some man is really watching, and we need to do some updates. I don't know. But I've done it on my phone. I haven't done it on my computer.
Okay.
Because I'm not very good about updates.
All right, we're back to excellent connection. So whatever happened, it fixed itself.
Anyway, all right. I don't even know what we're talking about today, what we're doing.
Tulane's uniform.
We like uniforms around here. Tulane.
Have they announced what suit they're wearing? Because the helmet, I actually kind of really like.
Did you like the old school helmet?
I appreciate
when they do things like that.
The effort that went into, hey, we're going to have a little fun. We're going to troll a little bit here.
But is it really even trolling?
No,
I don't even know that it's trolling.
Playful trolling.
Is it? Okay, here's my question.
It's not disrespect.
Right,
it's having some fun.
So before we start this, Tulane wearing a white helmet, and their logo on their helmet is from the 1945 to 1960 season, somewhere in there. I'm probably off on the years by a few years, but you get the gist. When they were in the league, it is a cartoon football player carrying a Tulane flag. So technically, he is waving. Like the wave actually works there for. The flag is waving in the in the logo. Very old school design, and then on the back they have a sticker of their helmets that says SEC champs, and the 3 years that they won the SEC, and it's something like 36, 39, and 46 or something like that. I have not seen their actual uniforms. I do really appreciate the effort a lot. Typically, it's like a Thursday release on the uniforms.
SEC champs, 1934, 39, and 49.
Okay.
And then they've got the American.
Yeah, their normal stuff they have to put on the back of their helmets.
What is the P6? Is they saying the American makes them the Power 6?
That's correct, yes.
Is that a new thing?
I don't know. It used to be a Danny White thing when he was at UCF. Maybe they've adopted that as a conference. But yeah, that's been a marketing ploy for the American.
Okay.
No uniform release yet?
No. The last thing they've got, they're practicing at Legion Field yesterday.
But they already had all that ordered prior to Kiffin making those comments on Monday, right? I mean, this is not something related to the week. There's no way you're getting...
You wouldn't be able to turn that around that quick.
I mean, obviously you wouldn't the logo, but I mean even the stickers.
Right. No, you wouldn't be able to get
that. They were planning this anyway. Hey, we're playing an SEC team on the road. Let's have some fun.
Yeah. I mean, God forbid it be fun.
Well, I mean, look, and I have a friend that is over their marketing stuff, but they're really good. I mean, Tulane is playful in some of the best ways in college athletics on uniforms and taking advantage of their goofy-looking mascot and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they do a good job with it. And there's a fairly heated uniform debate on our message board right now because of somebody coming on it. First saying that Tulane suits were ugly, and then somebody coming on right below that and saying that they would be happy to change all colors and insignias with Tulane if they would like to swap with Ole Miss.
Absolutely.
And that's going on and on and on down the page.
Is anyone, I mean,
there's a few arguments because red, white, and blue is such an easy color pattern that fits so many different things.
It
and
does.
I completely understand that.
But in many ways, for Mississippi, the blue and the green, I mean, I've been down this road with everybody a gazillion times. It makes so much sense. It's the easy fix that just makes it all eventually go away.
Catfish.
If you can't be the Rebels at some point, start adopting this thing that you can move in.
So if you were the czar and said, hey, we get to completely reset, you would pick out, you would be happy if you could do that for Ole Miss and be the wave with powder blue and green and white.
If you told me that was like, hey, yeah. Now, is that ever going to happen? No,
No. I just mean if you could go back to 1920,
yes.
You could just swap it out right then and go, nope, we're going to be green
and eliminate.
powder.
Absolutely. It'd be over.
And we're going to be the wave.
Yeah, and never have all the problems that you had.
Hey, we got a river and we got the coast.
Absolutely.
We'll make that work.
Embrace the river. Embrace the delta and all that stuff, and absolutely.
Because where I give Tulane credit on their suits is they do powder well, like Ole Miss does powder well, and also they don't go like in a lot of smaller schools do this. They don't go crazy on those weird 4th and 5th colors where you end up looking like the Seattle Seahawks when they put too much neon green in something. Like they keep very accented on the colors that aren't appealing. And then they're able to go, okay, no, this works. This is good with the white, the white and the powder and the shade of green that they use. And don't come out in all black. No. It's not what we do. We're right here. And they have two fantastic alternate logos with the big cartoon wave and the old school like T with the wave in the middle of the T. I actually really like that logo a lot.
I know.
So, yeah, it has the chance, if both teams will cooperate, to be a really good uniform game.
So when I do
Saturday
the
night.
graphics, I'm build graphics a little bit just for the pregame and postgame shows. It's not a big deal. But you go look at other schools like Louisville, when Ole Miss played Louisville. Louisville has all sorts of really cool brands. Tulane has all sorts of really cool brands. Austin P had nothing.
Did they not?
Not much.
You had the A and the P.
Yeah. So look ahead down the schedule. This is kind of an Ole Miss thing. Ole Miss gets Alabama after this. They've got great brands. They get Arkansas after that. Great brands. Tennessee, LSU, Auburn. I don't know about Liberty. Frankly, I don't know much about Texas A&M's branding. I mean, you could do some stuff. But when you don't have a mascot, it's just so hard. And Ole Miss doesn't really have a mascot because if you go search Ole Miss brands, you don't run into the shark much.
Well, no, their problem on Google and searches is you still come up with so many Colonel Rebels. They hadn't been able to flush the internet.
Well, it's just what I get when I go search is just the script.
Yeah, a lot of script.
Just a ton of script, which is fine. The script looks good. That's not my point. My point is when you don't have a mascot that you can brand in a number of ways. Like Tulane can take the wave and turn the wave into a person.
He looks kind of like Gumby. But
I mean, I use this example reluctantly because people get mad about it. But like when I'm in Fayetteville, I'll notice all the different ways they use the Razorback, the hog.
Mm-hmm.
They have him holding a baseball bat, and they call it the Omahogs or whatever. And they have him playing basketball, and you can do things with an animated. Big Al Auburn's genius with Aubie.
Mm-hmm.
Aubie can be 8,000 different things. When you don't have a mascot and you just have script letters, what do you do with them? They're just there. And from a branding standpoint, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would I trade? Absolutely.
Speaking of,
they wouldn't.
No, they wouldn't. And it works really well for the program too. That's kind of on the fringes of any kind of real notoriety nationally. I mean, they're in the American, which is a good conference, and we'll see what the American does. But I mean, nobody goes, "Oh, Tulane, look, national program." I mean, come on, that's not a thing. Not. So, I mean, God, getting out of the league.
What a colossal F up. Oh my God.
I mean, it changes everything. Because you could at least been a better Vanderbilt.
Oh, sure.
They would have had a lot more.
Sure, it would have been a fun road trip for everybody. Everybody loves to go to New Orleans for 2 days. Not everybody wants to go to New Orleans for 2 months, but 2 days? Like, I get New Orleans 5-6 days, and I'm done.
Oh, that's way too long.
Get me out.
I mean, I
But 2 days? Sure. In.
Yeah, it's anything more than about, for sure, 3 nights. And I'm like, okay, like, itching a little bit. Like, it's time to get moving. I mean, even Sugar Bowl week, we were there like 8 nights. It was like, okay, I'm ready to go home.
Oh, I was ready to go home.
I'm done. Like, that's
I was toast by the end.
And I didn't, like, go out every night. I wasn't going crazy or anything, but just.
Well, no, by the last 3 or 4 nights, I wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
I was hanging out in my room.
What'd you do New Year's Eve that night? Night before the game.
Yeah, Laura came down. That was when her back was killing her. We went out somewhere. She left did she leave on New Year's Eve or something? I don't remember. I just watched.
Did you?
I watched.
He talked to Tulane beat writer Gary Smith. So any updates on Tulane's travel plans?
Let me get this out now while y'all are here. In the event that this stream pops, we'll restart another stream. Just hang tight. But it's fighting, trying to hang on. So.
Yeah, as of right now, we're okay, but we are getting a little more issue than we typically would. So, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on there.
I don't know what it is.
Because I'm getting. I mean, my connectivity is fine, but for some reason, YouTube is acting a little.
Yeah, I think it's a YouTube thing.
They've been more buggy lately.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Been a little more buggy.
Imagine what when I have all that stuff on Thursday and I'm trying
terrified.
to. Oh, it's just I'm a nervous wreck for 3.5 hours.
Yeah. So we'll play our interview with Chance Campbell here in a couple minutes. Go ahead and let you hear from Chance this week as the Rebels get ready for Tulane. As always, that brought to you by the Rogue every single week, and we'll get that to you in a second. First, say about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. So you're getting local underwriting and understands your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
We're also brought to you by Walk On Sports Bistro. They put everything they've got into bringing you game day with the taste of Louisiana. Dig into their mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine like po' boys, gumbo, and voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads. quality, fresh ingredients you can't help but crave. Think you have what it takes to bring people together and provide a memorable game day experience? Visit 720 Highland Colony Parkway in Ridgeland to join their team today. Walk-On's Bistro, more than a restaurant. Also brought to you by Muddy Water Camo. Enter the promo code Rebel Grove and get 35% discount on any products from the site. Free shipping on $100 or more. Muddy Water has several new products on the site now, and their brand new Muddy Water Lady Camo apparel is out as well. Go to muddywateroutdoors.com, promo code Rebel Grove. While you have Rebel Grove cut and pasted for your promo codes, go to deadsoxy.com. Enter the promo code Rebel Grove there at checkout for 25% off your entire order of the best socks you'll ever put on your feet. Ole Miss and Tulane Saturday at 7. Still time to set up tailgating through 7 South. They provide the equipment, secure the spot, and set up everything for you. They offer unloading assistance, food and beverage delivery, and much more. Single game packages are available for non-league games like Tulane, $225 per game, I should say, or $325 per game for SEC games. It's 7southtailgating.com, 662-321-1682. And while you're in the Grove, you want to make sure that you, kind of take care of yourself a little bit. So you want to use those Game Changer patches. They're the only 2-patch system available in the market to stop hangovers before they start. The warm-up patch is used before or while you drink, and the overtime patch is used after you've been drinking to recover while you sleep. The all-natural ingredients will keep you in the game, ready for the next play. Try the patches and enter to win at GameChangerPatch.com. Enter promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase.
Podcast also brought to you by G&M Pharmacy and Tyson Drugs. G&M, they're on South Lamar in Oxford, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer MedSync free prescriptions the same day each month to make one trip there or one delivery and get all the medicine you need when you need it. With Right Way Meds, they individually package the medication if you need that as well into certain doses. So whether it be Tyson Drugs on the Square in Holly Springs or G&M on South Lamar in Oxford, give them a call for your community pharmacy needs, 662-236-2222. Now we'll go to Neal's weekly interview with Chance Campbell, brought to you by The Rogue.
Chance Campbell, Ole Miss linebacker, joins us as he always does each week. His visit brought to you by The Rogue. The Rogue, 4450 I-55 North in Jackson. Also, therogue.com. All the latest gear. Their college gear's on the way, by the way. I was talking to Luke Abney the other day at The Rogue. I know they had some supply issues like just about every other industry in the world these days, but the college gear, like what Chance is wearing right now, headed there in a matter of days. So check that out at The Rogue, therogue.com. Again, 4450 I-55 North in Jackson. Chance, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Man, I'm good. Let's start here because I'm curious. We've established you came to Ole Miss kind of sight unseen. You got here in the summer and all that stuff. I'm sure you've heard a lot about traditions and that kind of thing. And I know you're a guy that appreciates the traditions of the college game. You've seen some of them in the Big Ten, and now you got to participate in the one at Ole Miss with the Walk of Champions and all of that, from not really having any idea what that was like because you'd never seen it from the other perspective. What was that kind of like? Take me through that a little bit.
Yeah, that was nuts. It was pretty recent, so I remember it pretty well. But I remember pulling up on the bus, and we had something. I can't even say it similar, but at Maryland we called it our turf walk. And so you'd pull up, and then right before the stadium, maybe for about 20 yards, you'd have fans that lined up and saw you. But as you pulled up towards the campus, like you could see a bunch of people like walking. And so when this time for the Walk of Champions at Ole Miss, I was like, we're driving around campus. I was like, I don't really see a lot of people. Like, I was thinking to myself, I was like, I heard a lot about the Walk of Champions, and I don't know. I'm sure that they're somewhere. Well, we pull up, and like that's where they all were. No one was kind of straggling on campus. Like everybody felt like everybody in Mississippi was there. Like that was wild. It's just cool to see like a town there and like a bunch of people who like care so much about football. Like you keep walking, and I'm like, all right, it's gonna die down. It's gonna die down, and it just doesn't. Like it just goes on, and that was really cool.
Yeah, and that was for a non-league game. It'll be more intense than that when I guess Arkansas comes to town in a few weeks and LSU comes to town later in October. Those will be. I hate to be the guy that says you haven't seen anything yet, but you probably haven't quite exactly seen it like it will ultimately be. So that's kind of neat. Getting to play in Vaught Hemingway as in a game, home game. No, you've scrimmaged in there and that kind of thing. That's nothing like playing in a game. What was this kind of the game day like to see a full student section and all that?
Yeah, that was cool. People were out like full force. That was neat. It's kind of cool. Like the dress deal is a little bit different for the Southern games. Like
In what way?
like you had the dudes with like the collared shirts and the girls are in like dresses. So that was kind of funny. Like that was a different deal, but I mean it was packed and that was really cool. And then the stadium kind of reminded me of like Raven Stadium back at home, like with all the light stuff that they do. Like they had the fireworks shooting out and like the lights that would run up and down when you would score, and like that was really cool. It was just like super interactive.
You got a fumble recovery in the game. How often do you like envision a ball just where you don't have to land on it, where you can scoop and score? I know you did that once last year at Maryland. That's got to be always in the back of your mind that if I get a chance to get the ball in my hand, I want to run with it.
Yeah, I was like, I kind of popped up and I wasn't super pumped because my first thought was I should have tried to scoop it. Like I know like there was a little hectic down there, but I definitely had the time to pick the ball up and try to do something with it. So I like saw it and then kind of jumped on it because I saw we had like trouble getting it, and then I popped up and then I was like, I should have tried to do something.
I thought I saw when you popped up, you looked kind of maybe irritated at yourself. I figured that's what
Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
yeah,
In all, I mean, I know those are hard games to take a lot out of. You guys had a really quick turnaround. You know, what do you have, like two practices last week? I mean, it was one of those games where you're just going to show up and play the game. All in all, did you feel like you guys made some progress on defense, given just kind of the circumstances of two games in basically 5 days?
yeah. I mean, I think we showed like at times that we did the right things. I think we played a little bit better for longer for a period, but I think there was I don't know. It's good. I know I wasn't super pumped with what we ended up doing. I think a lot of guys wanted to do more, and I always think that that's a good thing. Like wanting more and expecting more of yourself. So I think that was a good attitude to have. So like while we're obviously happy to come away with a win, anytime you can win a college football game, that's a big deal. And we hit like some of the things we looked to get in the game. I think guys wanted to clean a lot of that up. So that's a good attitude I think to have, especially going into this Tulane team that's really talented.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about Tulane. I mean, obviously, it wasn't that long ago that Tulane gave Oklahoma all that Oklahoma wanted. Whether the rankings at this point are right or not, who knows? I mean, you guys are ranked number 17, and I'm sure in your mind you think you guys are better than that. Oklahoma's ranked third or fourth. Whether they're actually the third or fourth best team, we'll find out over the course of the next few weeks. But Tulane gave them all they wanted that day. Pratt's a very good quarterback. They've got some weapons. I know they're very familiar with their scheme with Fritz and everything. What do you see out of them when you kind of look at them look at their defense on film?
Yeah, no, they do a lot. They hit you a lot of volume.
I meant offense on film, by the way.
Yeah.
I apologize.
No, yeah, they're really well versed. You talked about they had a really talented quarterback there. We had a really good freshman season and it's clearly improved, which is saying a lot because he had a really good year. I think they're led by him. He's like a high energy guy. They have really talented skill positions and they're solid up front. So they do a lot of things really well. So it'll be a really good test for us to see how we stack up.
You did media on Monday with the local media. I was curious. You answered a question about Tulane you said you looked at them on film and you could tell they played with a lot of heart. When you watch film, maybe when you see a game on TV, and you might have seen some of them in their first game at Oklahoma because you guys didn't play until Monday, can you kind of tell when a team has good chemistry, when a team likes playing with each other and a team has heart and grit and that kind of thing, as opposed to when maybe a team you can tell there might be some internal stuff and maybe the hustle or the focus isn't exactly there?
Yeah, I think it's probably, at least for me, it's easier to tell like when in like the positive part than it is the negative part. I think like it's got to be, at least for me, it's got to be real negative to pick that out. But for Tulane, like you see guys like finishing blocks, you see like runners trying to finish runs, guys like picking each other up off the ground, getting to the ball. Like all those things are like good tells for an offense that wants to attack, score points, and get after you. So those are things that you want from your own offense, and then as a defense, you recognize and that you have a little bit more you got to bring to your game because those guys are doing those things.
I was curious, Chance. We've talked a little bit about last season for you at Maryland, for teams everywhere with all the COVID stuff, and the possibility that a season might get shut down. And I think you guys at Maryland did training camp in a hotel, so you can maybe kind of quasi-relate to this, what I'm about to ask. Tulane had the hurricane come through, and obviously they had to relocate. They've been in Birmingham, Alabama for, I don't know, like 3 weeks now or something like that. They got good news that they'll play UAB next week at home in New Orleans at their new stadium. But kind of try to put yourself, if you can, in their shoes. All that goes into being a college football program. How hard would it be to do it from a neutral location, if you will, living in a hotel, practicing one day at Alabama, one day at a high school, one day at Legion Field? I mean, it's hard to get kind of into a routine like that. How difficult do you think that's been on those guys?
Yeah, it tremendously would be what I would guess. And I have a ton of respect for those guys for what they're doing. I have, just like you said, like a super small bit of insight into that. We got relocated into our hotel a bunch of times because of COVID preseason, and then multiple times during the season. And I think I have a buddy who was at Stanford, and when they were having some of the really harsh COVID restrictions out there in California, I think they were on the road for about 3 weeks. And that they didn't have the devastation that they had that Tulane has experienced, but like that was really difficult. So I have a tiny bit of an experience of that, but it's not enough to just appreciate what they're doing. That's got to be really tough, like not being able to be home. I don't know. I'm sure that those guys are pretty well established on campus in terms of like friends, or if they have family around, not being able to see them is tricky. So I know that that's difficult, but definitely something that could like rally a team. And I think you see a little bit of that because those guys are playing hard and looks like they're playing for something a little extra.
I meant to ask you. You mentioned your family. I know your family was coming down. What were your family's impressions of Ole Miss game day? You had a chance to visit with them about it?
Yeah, I got to see them after the game, which was awesome, and they loved it. It's just a cool place to be. Like, the Grove is like pretty nuts. I was getting some of the stories from there. Like, God, like people really kind of go all out on those tents. My mom had taken a couple pictures, and that was cool to see. And just people were like really friendly, like inviting you in and all that. So it was neat. They were super pumped about it.
I know you're pretty football focused, and I don't think you run around and keep the highest profile in the world. That's my guess. But do people around town, around campus, recognize you more now than maybe they did before the Louisville game? I mean, you've obviously been on the field. You've played, I don't know, 140 snaps or so in a week of 2 Ole Miss football games. So people have certainly seen you play.
Yeah, I don't really do too much around campus. I don't know about that. And then I spend most of my time in the building, and so I see the same people. So that's nice. It's nice to see the same people. So I don't really know. I try to stay off social media. So I don't know. I probably wouldn't be the best person to answer for that, even though I would be. So I don't know.
All right, so let's get to the other topic I kind of wanted to bring up a little bit. Auburn and Penn State play this week. I know you have some family ties to Penn State with your dad and that kind of thing, and you played in the Big Ten. SEC team coming to a Big Ten team. It would be a big deal here if a Big Ten team was coming. I'm curious, and I know you're not at Penn State, so you can't answer from a Penn State perspective, but you can kind of juxtapose, I think. How big of a deal do you think it is at Penn State and inside that Penn State program to have an SEC program coming in, kind of an opportunity, league versus league, all that stuff, ranked opponents and all that stuff?
Yeah, I think that just being a college football fan, there's that conversation of SEC or Big Ten. I think SEC's kind of won that for the last little bit. So I know from being from my time in the Big Ten, and like when you're wherever you are, you're proud of where you are. So when you're in the Big Ten, you're like, oh no, like we have some good stuff here too. Just like now that I'm in the SEC, I think I've assumed a little bit of that bias, and I'm like, oh no, this is the SEC. So it's funny, just like the viewpoint from wherever you stand. But anytime you get someone like that coming to your place, it's cool. It just gives you a little extra something to go into the game with, because not that you really need it, because those games are big anyways, but it's fun because it's a little bit of bragging rights. And it's like, even though it's just a one-off example, like one SEC team versus one Big Ten team, I mean, I'm sure those guys will use it to justify why they may be the better conference, and just like Auburn would win it, they'd use that to justify why the SEC is the better conference. So it's fun to get a little bit of bragging rights there.
Henry Parrish got asked this on Monday. I'll ask you. It's a little ways away, but I suspect I know the answer, but I'm kind of interested to hear your thought process on it. You guys are you got Tulane on Saturday. I know you're locked into them. How hard is it not to look ahead a little bit down the road? You're in a couple of weeks. You play the team that's ranked number 1 in the country. The week after that, you've got an Arkansas team that just popped into the national polls after beating Texas. They're coming to your place. Is it difficult to stay focused on the task at hand, the week at hand, or is that something that kind of comes naturally when you're inside a program?
Yeah, I don't find it really hard. I think it's whenever you have a team that is like that you're getting ready to play, whether you're going to them or having them come to you, it's like playing a college football game is a big deal. So I've never really had difficulty like looking at the next team, and especially in this instance with Tulane. Tulane's a really solid team. I don't know that they always get the credit that they deserve. So for me personally, no, it's not very difficult. And I haven't heard guys talk about it. Like guys are in the locker room are all about Tulane this week, and last week it was guys were all about Austin Peay. So I'm happy that dudes had their minds in the right place.
Last thing, and I'm curious, you got to do Walk of Champions. We talked about that. You're going to get to experience a lot of the different SEC traditions and that kind of thing over the course of the year. What were some of the ones that you experienced? What were some of the Big Ten college football traditions that you got to see up close as a player that struck you, whether they were at Maryland or someplace that you guys played when you hit the road as a Terrapin?
Yeah, I think the coolest one for me by far has to be my freshman year. We went to Iowa and did the wave of the Children's Hospital. That was super neat because we were in the middle of it was kind of a dogfight. Like I wasn't playing as much defense there as my special teams, but our defense was like hammering them out, and it was a low score game. So it was like super competitive, and then take a break, and then you're like, oh man, like there's some other stuff going on, and like just to see how happy those kids were, and you could like the stands are right on top of you, and say like they're pretty tall. So the Children's Hospital, it's not like super far away, like it might be in Michigan where they have that bowl that kind of goes out. Like you can see the kids. You don't even have to look to the jumbotron. Like you can see them waving. So that was super neat. That was probably my favorite thing.
You can see their faces from the field.
Yeah, like you can't you couldn't like make it out and be like, oh, that's
right.
Whatever. But like you can see like the little kids standing at the wall, like trying to get to the glass window to wave. So like that was super cool.
Yeah, on TV, it always kind of hits me in the feels, and you know, just to put it in perspective, you got that stadium full of people, and everybody's there having a good time and cheering on the Hawkeyes or cheering on whoever the Hawkeyes are playing, and if you need perspective at a moment, boy, it's right there.
No doubt.
Last thing, I thought it was a really cool touch for Ole Miss to put I know there was a lot of 9/11 recognition, and I thought it was a really cool touch by Ole Miss to put the black mark on the 13-yard lines, recognizing the 13 Marines. That deep. I know you don't think about it during the game, but when you get a chance to see that during pregame and stuff like that, does it kind of make you feel good that the school you're playing for took a moment to recognize something that had nothing to do with Ole Miss football, but is a big part of our country?
Yeah, 100%. Like I'm a super firm believer that we're super lucky to be and like to live in this great country, and I'm happy that when you're at a university that's also proud of that and then honors the people who like let it be that way. So I remember talking to my parents after like all the stuff that they did. So like we had the flags outside the facility. That was pretty cool because I had seen them. They had, I think they were Blackhawks. They had the Blackhawks coming across. That we were inside, so we didn't get to see those. And that
you probably
been nice.
Hear them.
Yeah, no, you can hear them.
Yeah.
We saw them on there. They did like a little practice flyover. So we saw those before, but it's just really cool when you see like, I don't know, like I like seeing the military and then obviously the 9/11 stuff celebrated the way or recognized the way that I think it should be. So that's a proud spot for me.
Chance, as always, really appreciate the visit. Hope you have a great week. Good luck against Tulane, and we'll talk to you again next week.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. It was Chance Campbell, brought to you by The Rogue. Again, 4450 I-55 North in Jackson, or therogue.com.
Also tell you about Northeast Spark, NESPARC, service people across rural communities. 2 packages, the Ignite 100 Mbps Or the Blaze, the one gig that powers the Clark Ford studio, your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband, nespark.com, 662-238-3159. Phone service available, parental controls, network security, wireless mesh extender, and more. Call the office for details and get the best internet around. Again, 662-238-3159.
We're also brought to you by Clay McNutt and ACS. They're in Baldwin, Mississippi. Automation and Control Systems, LLC, is an electrical control system solution provider and a Rockwell Automation recognized system integrator. ACS has a full-time dedicated emergency service and troubleshooting staff and a UL508A panel shop. They can custom tailor software packages, custom design electrical control panel solutions, and much more. It's a full-service AutoCAD services provider and a full-service fiber optic cabling solution provider. If you want to learn more, go to acsllcms.com or call 662-601-4381. Pinpoint Commercial Real Estate is based out of Jackson, Mississippi, services the entire state in all commercial asset classes, such as retail, office, industrial, and land. Sam and BB are Ole Miss graduates. They pride themselves on hard work and maximizing value for their commercial clients. This week's property spotlight is on the Medical Parkway in Flowood, Mississippi. The Medical Parkway consists of 94 acres situated around the newly opened Sheraton Hotel and Conference Center and newly renovated the Refuge Golf Course. The acreage is ideally positioned between the International Airport and Flowood Medical District with Jackson Heart and Capital Ortho on site. This is an excellent opportunity for hospital, medical office, professional office, and retail users to position themselves in one of the most vibrant submarkets in Mississippi. So give BB and Sam a call at 601-586-3220 to learn more about the Medical Parkway. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand-tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi. One size fits one at BlueDeltaJeans.com. Go to the site, go to the virtual tailor, and you can be measured and design your newest jeans in just a couple of minutes. It's BlueDeltaJeans.com, promo code Rebel Grove at checkout for 10% off your order. We're also brought to you by Lammon's Fine Jewelry. Lammon's in Oxford, Mississippi, 1126 North Lamar Boulevard. Specifically, they've been servicing the Oxford area for almost 75 years. Engagement rings, wedding rings, fine jewelry, watches, pearls, fashion jewelry, children's jewelry, collectibles, and more. Lammon's is the gold standard in fine jewelry. So visit them at lammonsfinejewelry.com or call them at 662-234-2777.
Podcast also brought to you by Nick's Tan and Associates for all your real estate needs here in the Oxford area. NicksTanOxford.com, sponsor of my weekly 3-2-1 football content item. You can click the link at the top of that story in my signature. Just go to Nick's Tan Oxford, gallery view, list view, talk with an agent, and much more. Team of Clay DeWeese, O'Keefe Graham, and many associates to help you here in the Oxford area. I've used them multiple times, so you can give them a shot too. Again, 662-281-1200 or NicksTanOxford.com. I mean, you got an Iowa reference out of Chance right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
my gosh, did you put him up to that, or was that strictly organic as you guys were talking?
It was organic.
He might have just seen the helmet behind you, and like it was this sort of
May have
subliminal
just sort of-
messaging,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I had to edit out the part where he goes, I just wanted to transfer to Iowa. I'm like, me too. We had to edit that out.
I could have worn that uniform.
Yeah.
The black and gold that's a complete and utter Pittsburgh Steelers rip-off. I could have worn that. That would have been great.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's fantastic.
Somebody wrote like a think piece this morning about Iowa State and was like, are they way overrated? It's like, no, they just lost to Iowa. Like, I don't know.
I know.
I'm like, chill. It's week 2. Week 3 now. But like, we played 2 games.
Yeah, just
It's going to be all right. Just
relax a minute. I mean, there aren't but like 3 teams that are national title contenders, if that many. So just relax.
thank God it's not the NFL where teams have like multiple levels of what success is in college football. I mean, I harp on that, but thank God it's not playoff or bust for 130 football teams.
Sure.
Because, I mean.
Well, when it gets to 12, it's going to be more that way.
But that's okay. I mean, but that's a huge difference on.
Sure.
Suddenly it brings realistically 20 teams into play, but it brings 40 fan bases into play for at least a certain portion
Sure.
of the season where they at least can, in their head go, hey, no, what if? I mean, get a little hot and you run off this one.
Sure.
You get by this one and we can withstand this one. And suddenly, hey, it's right there.
The more playoffs, the more.
I mean, Ole Miss would have been in 14 and 15.
Yeah. Well,
and might have gotten in 8 and been a sack of hell.
If there were a 12-team playoff right now, we would be having hey, what do you have to do to get to the playoff conversation?
Yeah. Can you withstand this one and this one? What does this do for you? What does this do? How does this stack up?
So I got a couple of mailbag questions that I thought were kind of interesting because I was
about to go to one, so see what you go to here
because they were along those lines. It was kind of like you're higher on them than a lot of other people. Is that because of you covering them or whatever? And I'm like, no, it's just because I think to me so far they've passed the eye test. And then there was another question along those lines of when will we kind of know what they are? And another few weeks. I think the next 2 weeks are somewhat scripted. Like, I think Ole Miss is going to beat Tulane.
We're dead.
Oh.
It came back. We'll see if it comes back by itself, but we did die for a second. So we'll give it just a second, guys. I don't know, but I looked down and we had no stream at all going. So
it says excellent connection right now. Let's see. I'm going to enter test again.
Yeah, maybe we're fine. Maybe it saved itself. But for a brief second, we completely died. So I'm just telling you.
Okay.
I think we're okay.
I think we're all right.
All right, go ahead.
Someone tell us we're okay.
Yeah, it'll be 35 seconds.
Someone just say hello. Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I said it's the Arkansas game at this point. I mean, I think Ole Miss is going to beat Tulane. We're going to talk about betting lines and stuff.
All good.
Okay. But they're going to beat Tulane. And I think Ole Miss is going to lose at Alabama. And maybe it'll be by 10 points. Maybe it'll be by 7 points. Maybe it'll be by 17 points. Neither one of those games are going to tell me a whole lot. I mean, I'll learn some things about this team from those two games.
But unless you lose to Tulane or beat Alabama, it's not changing the overall scope of the season.
Exactly. So if they lose to Tulane on Saturday, it's like, whoa, hold up.
What's up?
And if they beat Alabama, okay, well, now we're having a completely different conversation. But if they beat Tulane and lose to Alabama, okay, you're right where I thought you'd be. Now we start to find out. Because I do think, tell me whether you agree with this, as of this moment, and look, Arkansas's played 2 games. They were sort of sluggish against Rice, and they played very well against Texas.
Sure.
I do think Arkansas presents some challenges, but I think it's a game that if Ole Miss is as good as I think Ole Miss is, they win the game.
Yeah.
Maybe they win it by 4 points. Maybe they win it by 10 points, whatever.
But they gut it out.
But they win the game.
Sure.
So to me, that's the first Saturday that I go, okay, I know something about this team. Either, yep, they've taken a step, or nope, they haven't taken the step. And it's not until then, and that can be frustrating. I get it, but for me, I'm just kind of treading water until then.
No, it's 100%. It's Arkansas looks like the ultimate swing thing to keep them on schedule. Maybe even beyond some of those other games because, that's one that we said, hey, if, like you said, if they're as good as we think they are, that's when you find a way to win. If Ole Miss loses at Auburn, okay, fine. Like,
sure.
That's not necessarily dictating what we think about the program at that point. But Arkansas does to some extent.
Like for Auburn fans are going to find out a lot about their team Saturday.
They are.
Because they've whipped Alabama State and Akron.
Yeah.
And, that's who they were scheduled to play, and they beat the
But we very well could be giving them too much credit right now.
Sure.
I have no idea.
Sure. Or they might go in there and beat Penn State by 10, and we go, whoa.
They're real.
They're real. And all of a sudden a game that people are like, oh, you got a real shot here. Now that's a daunting challenge. On the flip side, I think a lot of people, self-included, coming into the season thought, LSU might be a dogfight. And look, I think LSU's got some trouble. I mean, I've said this, and I'm going to keep saying it because next week we have an open date, and there's a Saturday that we don't have anything to do, and there's a game at 11, and there's a game at 2:30 that I'm dialed in on.
Yeah.
Because I think we're going to know a whole lot more about the division next Saturday.
Arkansas A&M, LSU, Mississippi State.
Yeah, because if you told me today that Mississippi State beats LSU, I'm not all that surprised. And if that happens, well, it's a whole different ballgame because all of a sudden you have to talk about Mississippi State in a different way, and all of a sudden you have to talk about LSU like it is absolutely gone off the sky rail.
What's funny even about this week, and now look, does this matter in any actual sense? No, but from polling, fan reaction, media reaction, just kind of perspective, because of what Tulane did to Oklahoma. If Ole Miss beats Tulane like I think they can beat Tulane, they almost kind of get extra credit for it in a weird way. And if it's sort of close and sort of sluggish and they win, it's still only week 3, and they go, well, I mean, Oklahoma only beat them 40-35, so maybe Tulane's just good.
Oh, yeah.
And then later on, when it looks like Tulane's just mediocre, well, our attention spans have gone by then, and it's just a W on the schedule. Sure. So, like, Ole Miss is in a weird little no-lose perspective right now as long as they win the football game.
Yeah.
There's no way they can be like, oh, well, they look like hell yesterday.
Well, it's like if Mississippi State beats Memphis and then beats LSU, and I'm not saying they will, but if they did, nobody's going to look back and go, yeah, but that Louisiana Tech night's over. You're good. It's why if Texas ends up being crappy, yet Arkansas somehow finds a way to get to 8 wins, no one's going to look back and go, yeah, but Texas sucked.
Yeah.
This is not how it works. Maybe it's how it should work, but it's not how it works.
It's why a lot of teams play 4 crap non-conference opponents, because you're just building wins. I mean, the difference on marketing and the way you're perceived around the country on 7 wins versus 8 wins is incredible. And a lot of times it's nothing more than, hey, well, they played one more crap team. There's nothing else about the program different at all, except Memphis sucked that year, Tulane sucked that year, or NC State couldn't move the ball down the field. I mean, whatever it is. I mean, I
got to be real. I'm not scheduling real games. Now, maybe in a 12-game playoff where your non-league schedule really matters. But today?
Schedule the hard game, and when you lose, just come out and apologize for it and say, I'm sorry we scheduled that. We should not be playing good teams.
Were you surprised in that story about Mullins hiring at Florida that Strickland was as honest as he was about, I didn't want to take Mississippi State's coach because I knew it would impact my life? That he lost friends over this?
Tells me he's very comfortable where he is, to the point that there's no looking anywhere around him whatsoever, and he feels the ability to do that. It also means in his mind he's safe in that it has worked to whatever level he can help. That if Mullen leaves, hey, I did the right thing, and if Mullen stays, we're going to win enough to where they're not going to look at me like I'm an idiot here. There was a lot of weird confidence in that I don't necessarily mean confidence in the traditional sense, but confidence from the standpoint of there's no way you do that if you're at all wondering how you're perceived in your current position.
No, I think he's very well respected at Florida. It was fascinating that he would come out and say, I did not want to do that, to the point of almost sabotaging his own search, and then hit a point where he goes, hey, I
have to go get the dude.
I have an obligation to the people that are paying me here. But he knew that that was going to impact his life. Can you imagine
losing friends,
ending a friendship over a guy hiring your coach
away? Hey, you took my coach.
He was going to leave for Tennessee if he didn't take your job.
Yeah, you want to wear an orange or blue?
You knew Mullen was leaving that night. Ole Miss had beaten them in the Breland Speaks waving game.
Yeah.
And
15.
He's standing out on the field, looking around. You knew he's gone.
Sorry, no one 15. It was 17.
17.
Yeah. Like say no, 17.
So that was the night that wrapped up the.
It did. The surge. The whole bus thing and the whole shooting match.
Yeah.
Flights scheduled to North Carolina the next day, and liaisons attending as well.
That was Mike Shula night too, right? Yeah.
Was that Mike Shula?
That was Mike Shula night.
Yeah, that's right. We were not watching that game 100% clear. We'll put it that way.
I'll never forget that call the next morning. I look down and it's your phone, and I'm like, what? And you're like, it's not only, but also. Oh, God.
Well, yeah, because
I was asleep.
Well, the next day I met you at the golf course because we were getting ready for that that fundraiser.
Oh, yeah.
And, we just kind of stared at one another and went, can you believe that?
Yeah.
It was yeah, it was the intentionally injuring Nick Fitzgerald night that when they hit his other leg, but somehow the MSU fan base decided that's what was dirty about the situation. and Mark makes a good point. Nothing really surprises me at all with several fan bases in this league, and that is one of them.
I don't know that fan base well enough, but yeah.
It's smaller and worst credit A&M. I mean, if A&M's a cult, I mean, it's in a similar vein. I mean, because look, we can't. It's impossible to watch Midnight Yell at A&M and come off with anything other than cult.
Yes.
I mean,
total cult.
You change the setting and just the words to the seance, and you have Jamestown. I mean, like it's Midnight Yell's like, oh my God. I mean, I really need thought bubbles when Jimbo saw his first one that time. Man.
When I saw Ross that day in Birmingham, I was like, "How's it going?" He knows that I make all the cult jokes. He goes, "Just running the cult," which was funny. I laughed.
Yeah. You and I agree with you, but it's podcast fodder. You said you would pick the 15 team to beat the 21 team.
Yeah, today.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I might have a different opinion in a few weeks, but that team was really good. And at that point, Hugh had really built his program. That was right at the apex.
Mm-hmm. That was
before he went crashing down.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Lane's to that place yet.
Nah.
I could be wrong. There's some signs that they're headed there, but I don't think they're there yet. Team was really good.
That team would really put up some points on this team.
Yeah, I think.
They'd run the ball effectively.
I mean, I want to see what this team does against Arkansas, Auburn, LSU. I kind of feel like I know what's coming the next two games.
I mean, they've played a mid-level ACC team.
And whipped them.
Yeah, sure.
Destroyed Austin Peay. For all the talk about pass interference.
Yeah.
Look, it's 37-0. Stop. I mean, if you're doing that, you're trying too hard. And there are people in our field who try too hard. If you're breaking down the third quarter of a 37-7 game,
that's on you.
It's on you. That game was over, and everyone knew it. Now, this week, I want to see what they do. I want to see how they compete against Alabama. I'm not saying Ole Miss can't beat Alabama, but I'm not banking on it by any stretch of the imagination. Alabama's the best team in the country, I think. But then Arkansas comes in and it gets interesting.
There's so many
Arkansas is going to beat Georgia Southern on Saturday. And then they get Texas A&M. It's kind of, for them, that goes from being a game that earlier in the year, hey, probably can't win this one, to they're going to go into there thinking, we got a shot.
The side plots of Arkansas Ole Miss, like you said yesterday, that chess match with Barry Odom and Lane Kiffin and Jep Levy and, frankly, Matt Corral overcoming some demons when he gets on the field with them that day. And then Ole Miss now they would have had Alabama, so we at least know what it looks like, but getting such a stern run test there with Ole Miss defensively on trying to stop Arkansas. And, I mean, make sure you account. I mean, frankly, they got some practice from Malik Cunningham because KJ Jefferson's going to run around a little bit. I mean, Chance is going to be back busy running after KJ Jefferson that day from a spy standpoint. I mean, that's what's coming. Kendall Briles is really good as an offensive coordinator, but it's a very similar plan to what Louisville tried to do with getting the quarterback in some areas and run the football and establish some of those things.
You actually can see some of the Jeff Levy ties when you watch Arkansas now. Because this is not the offense that Kendall Briles runs in his fantasies.
Oh, no.
He would spread it out, and they're throwing it all over the place. And
it's a slog for him.
Yeah, this is not what he had in mind, but this is what they do best. And frankly, Kendall got a little greedy the other night. Otherwise, it's a massive blowout because he had Jefferson throw the ball at a time that you didn't need to throw it. And the kid for Texas jumped it. It was a slant route. It was a good play call, but the kid made a bad read. And I don't think he makes very good reads. It's I think Ole Miss beats them. I think Ole Miss can take away the run game just enough in a way that Texas couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they'll force him to throw, and I think he'll make mistakes.
Yeah, look, that off date is so early. I mean, Ole Miss's October is brutal, but frankly, it just doesn't get easier the rest of the way. I mean, it's going to be a tough little task once this thing kicks off in a couple weeks.
The league's good. I mean, look, if Arkansas is going to be better, and Mississippi State's going to be better, and Kentucky's going to be better, well, then it stands to reason that and Ole Miss is going to be better. The league's just good at that point.
Well, they are just good. The West
does not have a bad team.
I mean, we're talking about where the West worst team is possibly LSU.
Yeah.
And that's just because of coaching disaster. It's not the talent on the field.
No,
they're not the least talented team in the division at all. So I mean, no, this is a bear. But at the moment, at least, it's not changing my thoughts on what I'm expecting. It's not.
No,
I
still think Ole Miss's future is pretty bright this year.
Mm-hmm.
Had some challenges, like I said. I mean, I've heard the people go, "Oh, they're going to just destroy Arkansas." They're just going to probably not.
Yeah.
And we make Tennessee jokes. But Tennessee played Pitt okay.
Yeah, they're fine.
They're okay.
It went about how I thought it'd go.
And Pitt's okay.
Yeah.
Pitt's probably Louisville-ish.
Again, it's backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Give Tennessee a little bit of a pass there.
So, that won't be
the most cake thing in the world.
No, it's not. They're not going to put a path of roses down there for you to walk on. And then, after that,
Go up.
LSU, Auburn.
Liberty.
I know. But, I mean, A&M.
Yeah.
King might be back by then.
Yeah.
Apparently has a broken ankle. Is that correct?
I think that's right. Thank God for Vanderbilt.
How long does it come back? How long does it take to come back from a broken ankle?
It ain't 2 weeks.
No. Minimum 6, right? I'm guessing?
Yes, sure. Yeah, sounds good. Podcast brought to you in part by Visit Oxford. Visit oxfordms.com on Friday, September 17th. Got 4 different locations for tunes around town. In front of the Growler, you got Atlanta Mosley Duo, Pocket Park, Davis Cohen, Spring Street, Tony Boyd, and around Southern Table, the Blues Doctors. So get some takeout, get some divert, wander around the square, and get 4 different options for some musical entertainment with tunes around town on Friday night. Also, double-decker bus tours, 3 and 4 o'clock on Friday. Still a few spots left. Make reservations for that for either time. And remember, if you get an adult ticket, $100 off a pair of Blue Delta jeans. So to see events going on today and every day and where to stay and much more, visit oxfordms.com/events.
Also brought to you by Comer Heating and Air and Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great products and services. If you live in Oxford, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer at 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, or the surrounding area, call Southern at 662-429-4429. College Corner is your one-stop Rebel Shop. 2 locations in the Jackson area and Ridgeland. It's next to Fleet Feet. In Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, just go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. We'll have some College Corner Store giveaways tomorrow night on Hand Raise Guys. So you want to be looking for that. Again, collegecornerstore.com. Also brought to you by Pinnacle. It's mypinwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com. They're also home to the Pinnacle 401k advisory services team. They'll conduct a complimentary, no-obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. Mention that you heard about them, and they'll take a little extra care of you. It's mypinwealth.com. Podcast also brought to you in part by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you're thinking about traveling, maybe you're already thinking about a holiday trip, maybe you're already thinking about next summer, just get in touch with John. Give him some parameters, give him a budget, let him give you options. And know this, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or send him an email at jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. Also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, that's the place to go. They've got a great selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. I've got a mailbag up on the site. It's brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. She sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes. 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844. And we're brought to you by Service Specialist. They sponsor Neal's Picks, which will be up tomorrow. With offices in Ridgeland, Canton, Jackson, and Oxford, Service Specialist has been connecting candidates and employers since 1967 as the oldest staffing company in Mississippi. Whether you're a new college grad or a seasoned professional, whether you're in engineering, dentistry, accounting, law, manufacturing, human resources, or more, contact Service Specialist. If you're a recent grad without much experience, they're always looking for candidates that have potential and want to learn and get their foot in the door with growth opportunities. Here's the deal. Mississippi is a small state. And a lot of times, service specialist knows about jobs that never get advertised. So get in touch with them. If you are looking to relocate to Mississippi, if you're looking for a new job, you have some confidentiality concerns, whatever the case may be, no referral fees for those searching for a job either. You've got nothing to lose. So give them a call at 662-832-5138 or go to servicespecialistltd.com.
Yeah, Darnell was doing the sideline for radio over the weekend. I think he's actually doing it this week too. Because I want to say I overheard Richard say he was doing the Tulane broadcast on Saturday. If I'm wrong, then sorry, Richard. But I want to say I heard him say that for Saturday night. So that game's on ESPN too. So I would assume Darnell doing that as well. So let's see, a couple different things to run through here. A second ago. Oh, by the way, crack in lower leg, 4 to 7 weeks.
Oof.
Reporting Chris Lowe. So said they might alter the timetable once he begins rehab next week, but that is right now 4 to 7 weeks for a quote crack in the lower leg per Jimbo.
I wonder who their third team quarterback is, because man, you got to be careful now.
Well, and that
you
dude
get down a quarterback.
I know he was thrust into action and wasn't expecting it, but 18 of 39 for like 170. I mean, it was rough.
He had a really good fourth quarter. Before that, it was an absolute
He made a couple
wreck.
really good throws there because they just kept kind of coming late. I mean, I always want to make fun of A&M, and it's really easy to make fun of them in this game, but it would have been kind of easy to lose that game, and they bucked up pretty good that last 8 minutes.
Tremendously that Colorado's offense sucked.
So they had as many chances as they needed.
They kept getting the ball.
Yeah. A decent team runs you out of the yard, and you can't come back from 2.5 scores down. And the game's over.
No.
I mean, it's night.
Yeah.
That's true. Colorado's not good. I mean, offensively, they are abysmal.
Just
awful.
Inexcusably bad, frankly.
Yeah.
Schematics, everything. I mean,
you would think they could recruit to Boulder, too. Like, it seems like a place where it would be kind of neat to play.
I've never been to Boulder, but I've seen all the pictures, and it looks like a really cool place.
People love Boulder.
Yeah, I know. Like, people
Maybe
rave
the best
about
mascot in sports. I know that doesn't get football players, but it's still cool.
It is a great mascot. From a branding standpoint, Colorado's got
freaking Buffalo.
They got it going on.
Come on. I mean, Ralphie might be the best mascot in the country.
It's a new Ralphie this year.
Is it?
It's still young.
Is he small?
It's smaller.
Okay. I mean, it's still Buffalo.
I mean, I still wouldn't want to get in front of it, but yeah.
Because, like, your Rushmore is Ralphie, Bevo, Mike, and then somebody else. Is it Uga? Even though I'll be honest with Uga.
It's just a dog.
The way they've inbreeded, too, that dog, like, I almost just kind of feel bad for everybody involved now.
Well,
like,
they don't live long at all.
I have a certain just distaste for the whole operation now with that.
Yeah, I think I agree.
I feel like those three are easy, and then it's.
Who is the fourth one?
I mean, I still think the country would say Uga because of like its high moments. I mean, they're all buried in the mausoleum right there at Sanford Stadium, and you got the one that wore the tux next to Herschel at the Heisman Trophy ceremony, and all the different things. I mean, but
I like Butler's Bulldog a lot too.
With his big ass bone,
yeah.
Butler's Bulldog's good.
I mean,
I'll agree. I mean, that's. But live mascot, I don't know. Shut up! It's not Reveille. I know, and
no,
I hate that dog.
It's not a damn collie.
It's not. You will show reverence to the collie.
I know.
I mean, you think Ross has to salute the collie? How does that work? What's the how do you
what do you think Ross's thought bubble is when they're like, "Hey, you got to salute the damn dog"?
Hey, look, I know this is stupid, but
I loved it when he was like, "I'm not doing the thumb up right." I'm like, "Oh, for the love of God!"
I bet there was like an orientation.
Well, he did. He got scolded online when he didn't do the thumbs up correctly.
Well, Texas likes their hand signals. Everybody got the hand signals. I mean, TCU, Tech, A&M, Texas, everybody got the hand signals.
That's one of the funny things last week was just every person doing the horns down. You know, the Big 12, that's a penalty. I'm like, good luck with that in the SEC, boys. I don't know how to tell you, but
go ahead and sack up a little on that one.
You're going to have to get a little bit tougher because everybody's horns downing you and you become a rival. And they get sensitive about that. Like, oh, you can't do that. I'm like,
why?
I don't know.
Why does it matter?
I mean, take that to Baton Rouge and see what happens. And you're like, hey, we would really appreciate it if you wouldn't do that. Yeah, well.
It hurts our feelings.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it's one of the few ways that they won the game, but we all knew Tom Herman was fired when he openly mocked Drew Lock after Missouri was doing the horns down thing in that bowl game. That was, okay,
you're too sensitive.
You're losing your mind over an opposing quarterback in a bowl game right now that no one else cares about other than these two teams.
Yeah.
This was not why Texas hired you.
The only other people watching this are
college football junkies.
Junkies or insomniacs.
Or bettors.
Or just drunk people.
And he did the whole mocking Drew thing and all that. It's like,
yeah, come on, man.
I mean, this comes from somebody who did make fun of Drew Lock a lot early in his career before he became an NFL quarterback.
But it can't be for that.
God, no. No. God, no.
Does Ross get a class ring? You got to go there.
Do you get an honorary class ring?
I don't know.
You feel like he would need one, right?
I mean, if he's going to make the noise and stuff.
I feel like we need to get him back on the show. I got questions.
Would he answer any of these questions on the show?
Yeah, he
the pre-show would be hilarious.
Yeah.
The show itself, not so good. Yeah.
Do you have to watch House of Cards a lot to get it just right? Like, is that what that was? Did you practice, Ross? Did you practice?
You got scolded for mocking Drew Lock?
Yeah, his sister.
Oh, that's
was
right.
Was getting on me on social media about it. I think it was his sister.
That's right.
Yeah, that is correct. So, yeah.
Hey, real quick, I want to tell you we're also brought to you by Alpha Specialties, 1670 Highway 80 in Pearl, Mississippi. They're your trailer-specific professional. If you want to haul it, they can call it at Alpha. It's the premium trailer dealership in Mississippi. Load Trail, Hallmark Cargo trailers. They can build game day trailers, concession trailers just for you as well. 601-932-9798 or alphaofms.com. And we're brought to you by Joey Erickson, Heron Gear Chevrolet. Let Joey help you find the vehicle you're looking for at a price you can afford. Choose from a full selection of new Chevrolet vehicles or get a great deal on numerous brands of reliable pre-owned vehicles. Just give Joey a call or text at 662-571-2367 or stop by 1685 High Street in Jackson.
So we will have a couple different shows for you tomorrow. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning. We'll go over Neal's picks. We'll look at some football stuff over the course of the weekend.
This is a hard week of picks.
Is it?
The lines are
awful.
Like 30.5 on Georgia and South Carolina. That's so many points, but South Carolina's bad.
And can they even score?
Like the Mississippi State-Memphis line. I mean, you can rack your brain on that one. Central Michigan getting 20.5 at LSU. They played Missouri within 10. They're good. They're a decently coached team.
Yeah, Michael Wayne's okay.
I mean,
but yeah.
Frankly, Ole Miss laying the 14 is one of the easier picks of the week.
It's still a hard game.
Yeah, it's a hard game to determine.
45-24 with Tulane with the ball with 2 minutes left is a problem.
Oh, you could see Tulane backdooring their way into a
45-31
a 12-point loss. Yeah, sure.
Something like that. So that, hand-raised guys tomorrow night, plenty more at rebelgrove.com as the week moves on as well. So hope all of you have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you again in the morning.